Now the beast was seized, and along with him the false prophet who had performed the signs on his behalf, signs by which he deceived those who had received the mark of the beast, and those who worshipped his image. Both of them were thrown alive into the lake of fire, burning with sulfur. Revelation 19, verse 20. I'm not really sure how I started thinking about this the other day, but I thought about how we perceived saved souls as going to heaven, or the sky above us, while condemned souls go to hell, which we perceive as being below us. That's the Christian view, which grew out of the Jewish view, but I think it was a fairly common belief in the ancient world in general. There's variations to it, of course, but like the Greeks thought their gods were up on high on Mount Olympus, and condemned souls would go to Tartarus in the underworld. In the Middle East, there's the story of Nimrod building the Tower of Babel to try to get to heaven and be like a god, so obviously he thought there was something up there in the sky. Across the pond, the Incas believed in an upper world and an underworld. So the beliefs aren't all identical, but the basic concepts are similar wherever you go. I think we have this perception now that heaven and hell are like these other unseen realms, and I think that's probably true to an extent in that they both exist in a realm or dimension beyond what we can perceive. But that doesn't necessarily mean there aren't parts of those realms that are perceivable to us. Our perception is limited to 3 dimensions and a very narrow band of visible light in the light spectrum. We already know we have limited perception of what there is in the universe. We can see the sky and think of heaven being up there, but we can't really perceive heaven in all its glory. So what if the underworld, or hell, really is beneath the ground? Why was it such a common belief with the ancients that souls went to an underworld in the afterlife? It wasn't always thought of as a place of torture or condemnation in every culture, but that was oftentimes one aspect of it. So the thought I had was, what if condemned souls really do go underground in the afterlife, to a lake of fire? Then it occurred to me there is literally a lake of fire beneath the ground. The Earth's core is molten lava, which I would say is a literal lake of fire. Is that what the lake of fire really is? Earth's core? To be fair, this is the only passage in Revelation I can think of that mentions a lake of fire, and in context it sounds more like they tossed the beast and the false prophet into a volcano, which would also be a lake of fire. The classical view of hell is of a fiery, lava-ridden place, though I don't know if that is actually an accurate view. I'm not sure where that view came from originally. Perhaps it was from this passage, or maybe it came from Gehenna. Gehenna is mentioned multiple times in the Bible. Though Gehenna was a physical place on earth that was considered cursed because pagan human sacrifices and fire were done there, it wasn't actually a place of fire and lava like hell is depicted as. But I think in medieval times, some misunderstood what Gehenna was, and they thought it was a garbage dump that was kept continually burning, but modern scholars say that isn't true. So I don't know, maybe hell isn't literally a place of fire and lava, like we typically would think of it. But do condemned souls really go down into deep caverns within the earth? Could they be going all the way to the molten core? What do you think? And what about heaven? Do you think the saved souls go to a completely unseen realm in the sky? Or do they perhaps go to other star systems and dwell on unseen paradises on physical planets? As far as souls being condemned or saved, I think it's their own choice. God offered salvation as a free gift, but one must accept the gift. So I think a condemned soul is one who chooses to be condemned, and a saved soul is one who chooses to be saved. So where a soul goes, up to the heavens or down into the earth, is essentially a choice they make themselves. So what do you think? Those are my thoughts on that. Thanks for listening.